Hi, everybody. First of all, Shabazz, that was great. I love you. I don't know you, but I love you. I'll be brief. It's a long night, so let me start. Yes. I'm a very competitive person, and I didn't know what Shabazz was going to talk about, so I was trying to one-up the whole thing. So I went to my go-to topic, which is the meaning of life. Actually, it's not the reason why it's here. I want to talk about our lives as creatives in ad agencies. I'm no longer one. So this is what it is. The image is from a blog I'm going to show you later. I did it with one of my partners, Eitan Cohen, and we'll get to that. So the way I gauge myself, this is the Maslow hierarchy of needs. You've all seen it in 6th or 7th grade. You forgot about it since then. But this is how I gauge where I'm at. And, I'm healthy. I'm safe. I belong. We're usually here. And when I started working in advertising, I really, really wanted to become a creative director, mostly because I thought you just come up with the idea and somebody else does the work, which proven to be wrong. But and I became one, and it was great, and then it stopped being great because you don't make much. You just waste months and months to create one campaign, and I needed to make stuff, and I couldn't. I made, 6 campaigns a year. And I realized what makes me happy is to do stuff. What? That's a lot, right? Yeah. No, that was a good year. The other years it was like 2, And, so you waste like 10 months just not doing much. I mean, you write scripts and they go, everybody likes it, but it never gets done. It's a horrible way of life. So I realized I need to do more. And I have 3 rules that I live by when I make stuff. By the way, this is a very unique image. It's one of the only things that never saw the light of day in my career since I left advertising, because we just didn't put it on. But it's from a video we made to promote our book, but then we made another video that actually promoted the book. I believe in the Pareto principle. I don't know if you're familiar with Pareto. He was an Italian economist, and it doesn't matter the history, but I believe that 80% of the work can be done in 20% of the time. In my case, 17, because I'm super quick. And I kind of figured out that I can make 5 things with 100% of my time. By the way, this is a wrist clock that I made. And this is all stuff I made while working at McCann, because at some point I realized McCann is just office space. Like, I work 40 minutes a day, and I have a fax machine. I have a printer and like an assistant, and like I can go to the studio and get stuff for free, like pens and stuff. So that's how I mostly used my time at McCann. And yeah, so I made this. Okay. My second rule is that it has to be simple, because I don't know if you know me, and you don't. I can do very few things. I have I don't really have any talents other than my looks. That wasn't a joke, but sure. No, it was a joke. Obviously, this is not my talent. But I don't work on Photoshop anymore. I don't do anything. So it has to be very simple to produce, and it has to be very, very quick. This is something I made. I was never able to do the Rubik's Cube, so I realized I need to do something to motivate me to actually learn to do it. So I went to the 99-cent store, and I have a printer at McCann, and I printed like softcore porn from the 40s, and I just glued it on, and there it was. And I put it on blogs, and I made something which I can't. My boss can say the same about me, that I didn't make anything at McCann that day except for this. So. But basically, it had to be very, very simple, and all the projects I'm going to show you are very time limited. Like, even the stuff that looks complicated was kind of limited to 15 minutes because I lose patience and focus. Wow, this is pixelated. But believe me, when it's not, it's amazingly beautiful. This is something I believe in very, very much. I believe it's a numbers game. If you're world class at what you do, maybe 20% of what you do is great. Like Steven Spielberg, you can name maybe 4 movies or 5 movies that are great. The rest are like, all the way down to The Terminal, which is shit. So I believe you got to make a lot of stuff all the time, create, and something good will come out of it. Maybe 10%. But at least you'll have something, unlike in an ad agency, where if 10% is good, then you have one good thing on your book after 10 years. It's pretty sad. So I believe you have to make a lot. This is, by the way, an image I shot for a band, a Seattle band called Friends Like These. This was the cover, and inside the booklet there was a lot of bondage with, did I say, yeah, I did speak about this. The secret for success, the reason it's empty is because I don't know what it is. But definitely, I'm talking about what constitutes a success for a project. For me, it's just making it. I don't care. I mean, I would love everything you saw until now and what you'll see in the next 10 minutes. You promised not to do that. So I would obviously love for everything to be financially successful, but I don't work at it. I don't, the minute I make it, I'm happy, and if something happens with it, then good. But definitely in today's, and this is something that if you have an idea, it should be a great motivator, because nobody knows what's going to be successful anymore. If you look at Kickstarter, there are so many horrible ideas that get hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you say, this guy, he writes messages on a potato, he puts a stamp and he sends it, and he will write your message and will send it to your mom, and it's super successful, and I don't know why. And nobody does, and that's why you just have to make stuff. I would say, right now I would say shit, but 2 of my kids are here, so I can't. But you just have to make a lot of stuff, and maybe something catches on. Enough already. So I'm going to show you a few things that I worked on while getting paid to work on other stuff, like Verizon and Nikon and stuff. This is, by the way, this is my my office wall. This is the beginning of it. Everything that came into my office, I just stuck on the wall because I thought it might look beautiful one day. It never did. But so these are the 2 first months of it. So here is what I did at McCann with my time, because really, we used to work 20 minutes before lunch and 20 minutes after gym. That was our day. So this is a project, I took a class at SVA. It is something highly recommended. And I started making those sculptures. These are deflated and inflated elephants. You see the blow-up thing here? So I started making these, and when I was done, I made this project where I made dedication plates and put them on benches in parks, and I put a Sharpie with a chain so people can dedicate it. They were blank, so in memory of, for her passionate whatever. And I let people fill it up and dedicate the benches to whomever. I also made some funny ones, like, do you smell that? Or this bench is taken. Just because I was so excited to find a place that makes those plates. I said, like, I can have 20 ideas, and so I made them all. Plus, you kind of use your salary to buy really cheap things, like plates. It cost like $2, and it made me so happy. I started shooting empty spaces. I don't know why, it just made sense at the time. But at every shoot, when we would go to LA, you go to the callbacks, and then you have a week until the shooting day. Like, there's only so much places you can see on a motorcycle in those 7 days. So I would use that time to go and shoot empty places. I started making flowers out of work gloves. For that, I had to shut the door to my office because this became too much of a labor that people can just pass and see me stitching gloves, and those are big pieces. So I had to shut my door for that. And by the way, when I showed it to my wife for the first time, I'm taking it out and I'm like, I'll just say one thing. When you start in advertising, then everything you make feels like you just invented electricity. So I show it to my wife, and she says, look, we both know you're not a great artist, but this is nice. I like this. This one's good. So I made these, and of course I went down to the studio, and we shot it professionally at the studio. That was real laugh? Wow. I went, you walk at McCann, you're a creative director, you take your stuff down to the shooting studio, and they shoot it for you. It's like professionally shot. They don't even know who the client is, they don't care. It's such a big thing, they just assume you're doing this for them. Among my known talents, I can't draw, but I can make a straight line without a ruler, if it's not more than 3 inches, I can make a straight line. So I started drawing these, and those again are big pieces that I had to be done behind closed doors. The funny thing is, like, it's a glass door, but I shut it anyway because it felt better. I started making potential of things. This is like part of the art bullshit where you have an idea, you want to do it, and then you have to explain it for some reason. So this is potential. Some more potential. Thank you. As you can see, I can't make, if the line is more than 3 inches long, I can't make it straight, so I started making these. And I also made recruitment shirts for street gangs. And again, you sit at your desk and you look for printers and for shirts, and your art director put the font together, and you just it's done. At the end of the day, you did something at McCann, and it was very good. We made, when the economy crashed, we made the $-. By the way, when we did that, everything I did, not everything I did, but a lot of the things I did, I just sent to blogs like Not Caught and Design Boom, and some of them just feature it, and it becomes a thing. It doesn't become anything, but for you, it becomes an achievement, because for me, I mean, those are sites I visit every day, and suddenly they accept one of your nothingness, and it was very good. I made this with Monty Pera, who was my partner for 3 months. I made this interfaith mezuzah. It's for mixed couples, a Christian married Jew, the other way around. So I came to work. I walked for 20 minutes, went to the cathedral, the big cathedral. And we bought one, and we made it, and we shoot it. And at the end of the day, we went back to McCann, and we had an interfaith mezuzah. And I made this. I can't explain it. And I'll show you a couple of blogs. And after those blogs, like Shabazz said, you kind of prepare yourself to live your work. And this is how I prepared myself. And I had 6 blogs when I was at McCann. And those blogs they were projects. It's not like was ongoing. I'll show you a couple of them if I can escape this. How do you escape this? It didn't work. So we made this. I made this with Monty Pera. This is a fake music blog. It's called the blog formerly known as. What this is I came up with band names. You know how sometimes you say, oh, Sweatshirts, whatever, and you say, that's a cool band name. So, and I have that a lot. So we decided to start a music blog where I would come up with the names, and then we gave ourselves 15 minutes because we had to go to lunch. 15 minutes to design the CD cover, and then I would go to the printer and cut it and put it in a CD, and then I would write the review for the band. You want me to read you one? Okay, PS87 is the name of the band. There is no I in Go Fuck Yourself. That's the name of the album. I'll read one. Wow, with this amount of anger and bad energy in this album, PS87 can scare the hell out of the Terminator from the movie The Terminator. If you're downloading instructions off the internet to build a homemade bomb, these guys nailed the soundtrack for that. Musically, this is not a bad album, and I'm only saying that because these guys are scary and I'm very afraid for my life. However, I am willing to risk everything I love just to say that the design of the cover is shit, and I mean that in the worst way possible. This was the running gag where we always said that the design is horrible. This is the album of the study group, and this is JFKGB. And it went on, and a record company approached us and wanted to take the blog away from us, and that's how they wanted to promote their artists. But it didn't happen, although I think it should have. Anyway, if you want me to read one more? Yes. This one or this one? I don't remember which is funnier. This was many years ago. JFKGB. The short-awaited self-titled debut album of the JFKGB. Great name, girls. We're usually not fans of word playfulness, but this one did the job. The music reminded us of the time when our father took us for ice cream and I wanted only vanilla, and my dad tried to convince me to try something else, and I said no, and he said I should. Annoying. But with good intentions and overall nice experience. The design of the cover is, as should be expected from musicians who think they are also gifted graphic designers, shit. Thank you. I highly recommend you, no, don't visit it. This is my best blog, I think, ever. It's called The Best Person I Met Today, and it's... this, by the way, surprised me the way understood it, because, God, if you know me, and we established that you don't, I'm not a good person, and so this totally took me by surprise, because people felt like I'm doing a great thing, like a good karma thing. So I went about my day, and you meet a lot of people in advertising, so if somebody made me smile or did something semi-good, I nominated him to become the best person I met today, and I wrote this story about what he or she did, and it was successful because I sent it to them, and I explained what this is, and they put it on their Facebook page, and all their friends got in, so it got a lot of traffic. And I don't know, July. So this is what this looks like, basically. I'll read you one, and if you want later, then we can stay here all night, and I'll read you some more. Today, at the height of our shopping spree, everybody started crying hysterically and demanded free stuff for no apparent reason. And Arthur Roberts went out of his way to make everybody happy, and he was successful, and that is no small feat. His crisis management skills are a true testament to his best person qualities. Check him out on Facebook. And it was all kind of stories about people who made my day. When you invite this is this one, Brian Bush. By the way, this is seriously one of the best things, because once every 6 to 7 months, I meet somebody who said, I know you. I was the best person. I didn't. And I'm like, it was a scam. It was a scam. When you invite someone you don't know to your house, and that someone you don't know is willing to jump into a no-holds-barred Nerf gun war, you know that this someone you don't know is special. So it was all like that. And then I decided to leave McCann. Yes. And so I left McCann with a great idea. First of all, before I left McCann, I called my wife and I asked her if I can crash on her couch. If this doesn't work. Sure. It was, yeah, there was no answer. So anyway, my idea was to diversify my income. I said my idea was to make 6 Kickstarter projects a year. And I realized that if the success rate in Kickstarter is 44%, I would have 60 because I'm above average. And long story short, in 2.5 years, I only did 4. 3 of them were successful. And yeah, I mean, don't leave your jobs. No, I'm kidding. Absolutely leave your jobs. No doubt. It was very easy to follow, quick and easy and simple, and at 2080 when I was at a job, because I had a job to do, a pseudo job to do, and when I left my job and started having all that free time, I put more time into it. This is a blog that's called Breaking the Law with Nunchuck, where I dressed up as a nun. And we went and we broke rules, all kinds of rules. Like this one is do not lean on door. So I leaned on the door. There is no outside food or drink allowed in the store. Thank you for your cooperation. So, by the way, we were kicked out of Barnes & Noble because I was wearing a nun dress with no kids at the kids section at Barnes & Noble. And after three warnings, the security came and kicked us out. Lawn closed for the season, of course. No bike riding on path. There is no sitting on the floor. And it's not, the idea was to make a photography book, a coffee table book. But after like 10 or 12, we said, nah, let's move on. This is my first Kickstarter project just after I left McCann. It's called Trophy Buffet. The story behind it is every year I give my wife a trophy for staying with me. And so I decided to start a trophy company, which is a horrible idea, that would sell trophies, the non-sporting trophies. Like this one was thanks for loving me just the way I am. Mom, Dad, I'm gay. Trophy wife, and overall we had, and this was where this all went south. It was too complicated. We had a warehouse and a painting booth and 50 SKUs. If you're in advertising, you don't necessarily know what an SKU is, but once you leave advertising, suddenly you know stuff that is horrible, that you didn't want to know because you're just making ads. Why would you do horrible things? So anyway, this was successful on Kickstarter, and we had our own company, but it just took 100% of my time, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. And I had to, was an amazing learning experience to go back to the 2080. Do it quick, simple, don't deal with it. If anybody knows anybody who wants to take this company, I would give it. This was my first attempt at designing a product. This is a menorah. If you're not a Jew, just do something for the next 2 minutes, because it's hard to explain. Who is a Jew? No, never mind. So a menorah, you know what a menorah is? It's with 8 candle holders. And so I had this idea to make all 44 handle holes. So this is for the first day, second day, and it is now sold at museum stores. This is a great example of making one product and becoming a middleman, which is what Jews do best. So, you know, I just, somebody makes it and somebody buys it, and I don't have to do anything. And it's, I just want to, 2 minutes. One of the best books I've read, you know how you say, I read a research, you know? You never read a research. Research are like big things. You read an article about a research. But I read a research. It's a book. It's called Painting Outside the Lines, and it's the most wonderful book. A math professor wanted to buy a painting. He called his friend the gallerist. He said, does this price sound right? And she said, how big is the piece? And that struck him as, that can't be. That's not how you judge art. So he took his entire lab team, and they put in 100 of the most famous artists in history. And what came out was 2 groups, okay? One group they called the conceptualists, like Picasso and others, I don't remember right now. And those people didn't do one thing. They did many, many things, like the Blue Period and Cubism and pen drawing and sculptures, different things. And there was the experimentalists who did one thing, like Monet or Manet, a lot of Impressionists. They did one thing and they wanted to perfect it and to make the best Impressionist painting that they can make. And when you hear that, everybody in this room probably says, I'm a conceptualist, because I do a lot of different things. But then you read that if you're a conceptualist, the height of your success would be very early on in your career, which was depressing to me, because I understood that it's behind me now. So that's why I started a new career, to maybe be successful at the beginning of it. So I started making this. And last but not least, and this is the reason Stephanie contacted me, is my last project. I did it with Eitan Cohen, who illustrated it. It's a children's book. It's called The Spider's Heart. I won't tell you what it's about. I'll show you the video. This is, by the way, a book. We did it on Kickstarter. It's, again, an example of putting too much time into it, and that's my regret about it, but it's so beautiful. I want to... Now, this was something it's a story that I wrote like 3 years ago, and I met Eitan, and he's an amazing illustrator, and we started working on that book, and I'll show it to you. A Spider's Heart is a book about a Brooklyn-born baby spider whose name is Little Pablo. He was named after his grandfather, Little. Little Pablo is quite horrible at spinning web, and when his mom teaches him the ropes of webbing, he realizes webs are meant to kill other bugs, which makes him question the whole killing thing. So he becomes a vegetarian and swears to never build another web. But, and this is a huge but, he has an uncontrollable urge to web, because he is, after all, a spider. So he does, and he catches a baby bug, but later releases him because he is a lover, not a hunter. Little Pablo became so hungry he couldn't fall asleep. Even counting ships didn't help. Then one day he discovered art and felt that art was his calling, so he became a starving artist. He webbed masterpieces like Picasso's Dora Maar, American Gothic, and Andy Warhol's Campbell Soup, to name a few. Bucks from Manhattan and Queens came to see his art, and even from overseas places like Chinatown and Little Italy. How will it all end? Will he survive? How does a baby spider get a hold of a vegetable anyway? Our self-publisher advised us to keep the ending secret, but we are allowed to reveal that there is an end, and a happy one at that.
We wanted to make a beautiful art book for the whole family and introduce art to a younger audience?
Yes. We love children's books that are not too easy or too simplistic, and through obscure references and the adult footnotes at the bottom of each page, truly become books for all ages. So, to sum up, if you're the kind of person who likes large format art books / whimsical children's books about vegetarian spider artists printed on really nice paper, and you love good stories and cool illustrations, and don't like to kill other animals, and you love to laugh and cry and help us realize your dream, back us on Kickstarter. Thank you. So, to sum up, no, I mean, just, I know it sounds very cliched, but just do things. And I mean, I guess it's the reason you got into advertising anyway, right? You weren't very good at math, or, you know? And suddenly there was a profession that gave you a job, and, you know? So really, I just try to, and I fail at it, but I try to do a new thing every day. I probably am successful 10th of the time. But yeah, I mean, that's it, yeah, I guess. Thank you.